for Summit of the African Union. And Senate President Bukola Saraki condoles with victims of Lagos tanker fire. And the foreign scene, South Sudan president declares permanent ceasefire. And in sports, World Cup exit, Super Eagles depart Russia in trickles. Details of this and more in a moment. Please do stay with us. And now the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari has left Nigeria for Mauritania to participate at the 31st Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union, AU. The theme of the summit is Winning the Fight Against Corruption, a Sustainable Path to Africa's Transformation. The summit is scheduled to end on July 2nd, when the president is expected to return to the country. Buhari will at the summit deliver an address on the theme of the summit. Mauritania is hosting the AU summit for the first time since the birth of the union. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has warned people of the northeast and the rest of the country not to celebrate Boko Haram insurgents. General Buratai also regretted that Boko Haram has been his greatest challenge since he assumed duty because of the endless battles in the Northeast War Theatre. Speaking during a conference over the Army Week celebration, Buratai regretted that in spite of the Army's efforts to cut down the terrorists, he is not happy that the social media keeps giving a lot of publicity to the group. The planned reorganization of the nation's security architecture by President Muhammadu Buhari should be done without further delay. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, had, after a meeting with the President, disclosed the plan. In this interview, some Nigerians gave diverse opinions on what they think the President should do differently in order to tackle insecurity in the country.
The service chief have long overdue. They are supposed to be retired, and still now he's still keeping them. Why? They are supposed to be retired, and he's still keeping them. Then if it's his wish to reorganize the security outfit of the country, better and good for us as the citizens. The killing has already gotten out of hand. You see what happened in Jos. So it is hard time the president has to do something. If there is magic he needs to do, let him do it. This killing has to stop.
In reorganizing the security architecture of Nigeria, we must bring community leaders into it, because these things are committed within communities, and community leaders should be involved. They should be able to know who are the strange faces coming into their environment. By the time that they are carried along, these people will provide necessary or enabling information to the security agent. But where security agents are left alone to do the job, it will be difficult for them. They may not all get it right. So we need to involve community leaders, ward leaders. They should be involved in the security of this country.
Nobody knows your environment better than you. They have traditional rulers. They have residents of that place. They know how their place are. They know strange faces. They know those who are not supposed to be there. So everybody to secure his community first. Securing your community means knowing what is going on in your community and crying out. And when you cry out, you should be heard. A traditional ruler or a chief to know what is dangerous to his community. So they should be empowered to secure themselves. By the time that goes from village to the local government to the state, then the whole country is at peace.
People are not closer to the security agent. Before the security agent will be informed, many things will happen that they cannot be able to control it again. Government is supposed to provide more security everywhere, either vigilante or any type of security agent that will help to control all these things that is happening within our environment.
The need to reduce poverty in Nigeria to the barest minimum is being stressed, as most people told us that the lack of basic needs has created many social problems in the country. In this interview, the people said with the right measures in place, poverty can really be reduced in Nigeria.
Many of us believe that government should provide everything for us. Government cannot do everything. And therefore, families, individuals will have to rise up to ensure that what can I do for myself? So by the time that you begin to think like that, yes, you are taking care of yourself. This person is taking care of himself. Before you know it, we will not all be rich, but we can't be poor. Somebody will graduate from school. He will tell you there's no job. So you can't do anything. You just sit down waiting for government. No. Be creative. If you look at other parts of the world, this is what they do.
industrialize the country. For instance, Ajaokuta Steel Company is in Abadan for years. That is a company that can confidently employ over 100,000 youths in this country. And if such number is taken out of the level of poverty, you see that the level of poverty will definitely reduce. And another thing is the agricultural sector. The government should get back to the grassroots, get people engaged, give them loans that they can use to set up something. Entrepreneurial development will also help. Where such is done, poverty will be reduced.
Government will create more jobs so that it will reduce the level of poverty in Nigeria. It is because of unemployment. That's why we have high level of poverty in Nigeria. Graduate will finish school today, and at the end of the day, he will spend up to 5 years without doing anything. Even to start on his own, there's no any capital for him to go on with what he can do. So that he will survive.
Senate President Bukola Saraki on Friday expressed his sadness over the tanker accident that claimed the lives of 9 people in Lagos on Thursday. On his Twitter handle, Saraki prayed for strength and comfort for the families who have lost someone in the incident, as well as speedy recovery for those who were injured. The accident claimed 9 lives, injured 4 persons, and 54 vehicles burned. Reacting to the frequent petrol tanker accidents in the country, some Nigerians called for right measures to be put in place to reduce the incidents.
It's a failure of the government on this side, because if you could see, there was a law in Lagos State that trucks should not be moving within the daytime. He decided to move within the daytime, and as a result of that, people have died. But condolences do not raise the dead. We'll hear another speech by the President of the Federation. In the next 2 weeks, it will happen again. So it's until Nigerians decide to rise and say, I want the best for my nation, the same problems will still continue to happen.
You don't blame the tankers drivers. We have the resources. We have all it takes to work on our train. If the train systems are working and we have cargoes that move from the south or the port down to the north, taking these tankers, not using the same source where the publics are using, I think we'll avert these accidents so that we'll avoid these tankers flying a road with the people.
One thing is having a law in place. Another thing is enforcement of such laws. The security agencies are aware of the laws. Even the operators of those tankers are aware of those laws. But enforcement is the issue. Even the driver of the unfortunate tanker that busted and killed so many people is aware of that law, that he shouldn't have been driving on that road at that point in time. A security agent may have seen him driving at that point in time. So it's not really about laws, whether we have relevant laws stopping such incident, but enforcement is just the case.
It's basically enforcement. If they can enforce the laws, because if the agencies see these cars moving and they do not stop them or hold them or call them to account, definitely all these things will keep happening.
BC Kasim, Core Education Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC, in this interview spoke to us on fuel tanker safety.
We are already proposing a stakeholders meeting where issues of roadworthiness, issues of vehicles meeting minimum safety standards will be discussed, issues of going through normal tutelage, of learning how to really drive, going through driving schools, making sure that trailers and tanker drivers or truck drivers are trained specially, not in normal driving schools, but specialized driving schools. And more educational enlightenment and advocacy will continue, more training for their drivers, more collaborations with their executive, and probably legislating some more positive measures, also probably restricting movements of such tankers and trailers from actually applying Nigerian rules during the day, maybe in the offing. But for now, we are commiserating with the families of the people that lost their lives, and we are saying that no more. We will continue to do our job and enforce the law to avert such occurrence in the future.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll be right back. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. On the foreign scene, President Salva Kiir of South Sudan has ordered implementation of the permanent ceasefire signed recently with rebel leader Riek Machar in the Sudanese capital. Kiir's order urged government forces to remain vigilant in their positions and fight only in self-defense and also allow unhindered humanitarian access. Kiir and Machar, the leader of the main rebel group, the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, and army in opposition agreed to permanent ceasefire on Wednesday in Khartoum at the recent face-to-face talks mediated by Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. South Sudan descended into civil war in late 2013, and the conflict has created one of the fastest growing refugee crises in the world. And in sports, following the ouster from the ongoing World Cup, the Super Eagles have left their Turkey camp, but not as a team. The spokesman of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Ademola Olajere, said most of the players left Russia for their respective basis. The Super Eagles failed to reach the second round of the competition courtesy of a 1-2 loss to Argentina in the last Group D encounter played at St. Petersburg on Tuesday. But as the World Cup enters the group of 16 in Russia, the police and the Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, have warned of planned attacks on viewing centers across the country by terrorists. The warning is what some FCT residents say must be taken very seriously.
Most of these crimes that are being perpetrated are done where there are cluster of people, and therefore people should not believe that their next neighbor could not be harmful. People must sit up and be very, very security conscious. Don't just leave everything to the security agent, and if the security agent don't have information, there is a limit with which they can do, and therefore every citizen owe it a duty to ensure that when he sees something, he should talk, say something, so that will help security agents. When you give them information, they will act on it.
When there is alerts, then we, the populace, have to be cautious. The police and our security agency knows that there is danger coming from such an angle. We should take precaution. There is a popular saying that prevention is better than cure. Information is very vital. It's to pass the information to our neighbors, to our friends, to our brothers, to avoid such places. You look at the killing in the country now. So one cannot even say you are going out and you are sure you are coming back home. And the government has to wake up. The government are not doing enough.
Government is supposed to help us with more securities within our environment, more especially in all these view centers and social gatherings. At least Secret Service will be there so that any type of unusual movement, the people will report to them so that they will take more action, more especially in the market. Apart from view centers, other places that people will gather more than 10, government should try and help us.
A bomb attack at a viewing center in Damaturu during the 2014 World Cup left at least 27 people dead. And that's the news for this time. Thank you for listening. My name is Oikeke Igado Kure.